Hello, everyone, and welcome to the advanced section of Hey to G'day. Today's topic will be about what people get wrong about Australia. So, misconceptions or myths that people from other countries have about Australia, which just really aren't true. So, basically, it'll be just a pretty regular conversation that we would have normally.
Yep.
And if this is too difficult, check out our intermediate section or the beginner section. But yeah, we'll get started. So, Luke,
Yes.
people say that there is dangerous wildlife everywhere. Like Australia is just this pit of it's like you're at risk. You
Yeah.
might die every single day you leave the house,
Yeah.
or even you might die in the house if there's a spider in the toilet or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, very common.
Is this true? Can you tell me about it?
Well, I don't think it's true. We do have dangerous wildlife for sure. Like it exists. However, day to day, do we see it often? As city people, not really.
No.
I'll see the odd spider in my house, sure, but it's not. You just kind of put it in a cup and take it outside. Unless it's really dangerous, you might have to step on it. But most of the time, you take it outside and it's no problem. So I think it's not as in your face as what a lot of people from overseas may think. I think, as you said, some people think they get off the plane and they'll just be attacked by snakes or something, which isn't the case. So I do find it quite funny when people approach me from overseas and they're like, I could never live in Australia, the wildlife. I don't know if that's happened to you before, but I've definitely had a few people say that.
Yeah. When I was in Europe last year, I had people talk to me and say that they would never ever visit Australia. They couldn't go because it's just too terrifying. All the spiders and snakes and crocodiles. Have you ever seen a crocodile in the wild without on a tour or something?
No, I have been to northern Queensland and done one of those tours.
Yeah, the tours.
And the crocodiles aren't it's their natural habitat. That's pretty cool to see. So they do exist, and I know it is quite common in northern Queens. I'm not too sure how common, but it does happen where crocodiles go into people's pools in their backyard. Obviously, we're not used to that in Melbourne because there's no crocodiles here, but I know that is something that happens.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of fear about sharks as well. But an interesting statistic for you is that you're more likely to die from a coconut falling on your head than a shark per year. There's more people who die from coconuts falling on their head. So
is that in Australia or
that's probably
worldwide?
It is worldwide, but that might help. Maybe that might make you a bit less scared of the sharks.
Watch out for coconuts as well.
Yeah, and it might make you more scared of coconuts. You never know. But yeah, Luke.
Yes.
People think that Australia is not very multicultural. We're all kind of these surfer dudes, and there's not many people from different countries.
Yeah.
I would strongly disagree. But what do you think?
Yeah, that can be the stereotype at times. I think sometimes people from overseas who don't know much about Australia think we're all long-haired surfer dudes that sort of just sit by the beach all day, but that's not the case. We are a very multicultural society, especially here in Melbourne, and it's the same in a lot of places around Australia as well. We have many people who are born in China, India, Vietnam. They're some of the more common places where people are born that have now migrated to Australia. So yeah, there's multicultural everywhere, which I think is personally great because you get a mixture of all different foods and different ways of life, different languages.
Yeah.
I like it personally.
Yeah.
What do you think about this, George?
Oh, it's a great thing, and certainly I can't surf. Can you surf?
I've tried it a few times, but I definitely can't surf.
Yeah.
I used to do boogie boarding, which is like surfing, but you just lay down. You don't stand up on your feet. So that's a little bit easier, but haven't done that in some time. Kind of just relax on the beach now. Keep it chill.
Yeah, a bit of frisbee on the beach. Maybe get the suntan.
Beach cricket.
Beach cricket. Yeah, and if you are going to go to a beach in Australia, make sure you do swim between the flags.
It's a good point.
There are
Yeah.
life savers, they're called, people who are trained to, I guess, drag you out of the water if you are drowning.
So the next point we have here that we both... I'll start that again. So the next point we have here about a common misconception about Australia is that everyone loves Vegemite and they have it every single day for breakfast. I personally quite like Vegemite. Do you want to explain what Vegemite is, George, just so everyone gets a better idea?
Yep. So it's an Australian spread that it goes on bread. Most people would have it with like butter as well because it's super salty.
Yeah, for sure.
And basically people think that we eat heaps of it. We eat it by the jar. But frankly, I would probably never have had a jar of Vegemite in my entire life. But I know you're a big fan of Vegemite.
I'm a big fan. I'm not having a full jar as a meal. Don't do that. You'll probably end up in hospital. That's a lot of salt. But no, I enjoy it. I've always had it since I was a kid. It's like my family will always have a jar of Vegemite in the house. It's sort of like a staple. I definitely don't have it every day, but I'll toast some bread, some nice white bread, preferably from a bakery, not from the supermarket. It's a bit more fresh. And you toast that bread, butter on first. It has to be a good amount of butter. I think that's what people get wrong a lot of the time. And then not too much Vegemite on top of the butter. And it's a really nice, I was going to call it a meal, but it's probably not a meal.
Yeah.
The nutrients isn't great, but it's a nice little snack. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can have it after dinner maybe, or breakfast as well.
Just to confirm, no one has it after dinner. Like that is...
No, that's common. Cup of tea and a bit of Vegemite.
Nah.
No, you're not about that?
No, Vegemite actually, like, there's not a heap of nutrients, but it is quite rich in, I think it's vitamin B. But
Right,
if you're
that's a fun fact.
vitamin, or you could say vitamin, I think maybe most Australians would say vitamin.
Yeah, we don't say vitamin.
Yeah. Yeah, so moving on.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people from other countries think that kangaroos are just everywhere. Like there are so many kangaroos here. And I think some people even think that we might ride kangaroos to school. I think that is probably Australians going overseas and just lying to other people. But what do you think? Is this true? Are there a lot of kangaroos?
Well, yes, there's a lot of kangaroos, but we don't ride them to work or school. Surely people don't actually believe that.
You'd hope not.
I really hope not, because that would be really embarrassing if someone thinks that's true. But
yeah, write us a comment if you did think that. Write us a comment, and we will shame you in the next podcast.
I hope to see 0 comments about that. If I see one, I'll be a bit upset, and I'll lose a bit of trust in humanity.
Yeah.
I think.
Might just shut down the account.
Yeah, let's do it. But no, kangaroos are very common. I think they might even be considered a pest. I'm not too sure. We might have to fact check that one. But they are very common. Not in the city though. Maybe 30 to 40 minutes out from the city, you might be able to see some kangaroos. They're definitely around. They're not some endangered species that you have to bring a pair of binoculars and try to find. You can definitely find them if you're traveling to Australia. However, day-to-day life in a city, you probably won't see a kangaroo.
Yeah,
Probably agree with me, George.
Yeah, and just to provide some statistics, there are actually twice as many kangaroos in Australia as people in Australia.
That's like,
A lot of Australians will not drive in dawn, so when the sun is rising, or in dusk when the sun is going below the horizon.
Yep.
Because this is when the kangaroos are most active and they kind of jump across the road and you kind of have to drive quite slowly. And it's more dangerous. Like they can damage your car quite seriously and make you swerve. So
in the country areas,
in the country, not in Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, not driving into the city at 5 p.m. because of kangaroos.
Yeah.
But in more rural areas, I think
Definitely.
you could say that definitely could be the case.
Mm.
Yep.
Cool. And so, Luke, people think Australia is extremely hot. Like it's, there's the sun's always out. People are always, wearing the singlet and the shorts and the thongs. thongs in Australia are on their feet wear. They're not underwear, so don't get that
True.
confused. That's a good thing to know. Thongs in Australia. We'll put an image up if you're on YouTube. But yeah, what do you think about that? Is Australia extremely hot? Is it true?
Well, I kind of wish it was hot all year.
Yeah.
I love the heat. I love going to the beach in the heat, getting a little bit of a tan. But no, that's not the case, especially where we are from in Melbourne. It's rains about 140 days per year, according to Google. So that just shows you that it's not hot all year round. Melbourne's actually, we've kind of got a saying, don't we, where we say 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, that's true.
Which pretty much means that I'm not too sure why this is the case or the science behind this, or if there is any science, but our weather changes a lot here in Melbourne. One day it'll be like 25 degrees sunny, and then it'll be raining the next hour, and then there'll be some lightning. It can get pretty crazy, but no, it's definitely not hot all year round. You'd agree, yeah?
No, I was in, like, we're wearing pants right now.
That's true.
It's pretty chilly. It's getting into winter now, and it is.
Yeah.
It is
Getting into winter.
Getting into winter.
It's still pretty good weather at the moment, though. It's kind of stuck around this. Yeah. Like, it's not too cold.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, but yeah, it does get really cold, and there's even, there's kind of a ski season in Victoria.
Yeah, and New South Wales as well.
Yeah, and New South Wales, where people can go skiing for a couple of months in a month.
Yeah, a couple of months. Yeah. It's open for the ski runs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Australia is like 80% desert, especially from the centre going outwards of the map. We'll put a picture up.
Yeah.
But that's really hot. But when you're down the bottom of Australia, Tasmania, Melbourne, New South Wales, you get a lot of rainy days. But as you go further up, it does get hotter. So a lot of people from Melbourne will go up to Queensland or Northern Territory and just try to get away from the cold weather during winter.
Yeah, it's a nice little escape for people, I guess, to sort of escape the Melbourne winter. We do kind of whinge about it a bit. It's not really that bad compared to other places in the world, but people often escape to the northern parts of the country, which is fair enough. Well, thank you for listening to the advanced video of this topic of misconceptions in Australia. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if this was too hard or too easy. We also have beginner and intermediate videos available on this topic as well. Also a free transcript in the description you can click on, and you can see what we've been saying word for word. So that will help with your study. And yeah, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.